Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome, welcome, welcome. It is time now for Car Talk with Brad Doenges. And Brad, you brought friends.
Well, of course I did. Hopefully I still have a few left. And I got one that's never been on the show before today.
Never.
I got welcome. Let's just start the show as I usually do. Good morning, friends. We're so glad you're with us this morning. What a beautiful morning here in Bartlesville. Got the sun out finally and a little bit of cool weather and high humidity. And I said I wouldn't bring it up again, but the allergies are still out there. But yeah, I am very happy today to welcome my guest, Gerald Thompson, otherwise known as Coach T. Say hello, Gerald. Welcome.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Glad you are here. I'm
glad to be here.
I'm excited to ask you some questions and find out stuff I don't already know about you. You're a longtime fixture in Bartlesville sporting circles, and next Friday we'll be honored by the Bartlesville Sports Commission as one of this year's inductees into the Bartlesville Athletic Hall of Fame. So congratulations.
Thank you.
It's a well-deserved honor, and I think it's one of those things that we, those of us who played sports and or had children that did, recognize what the coaches do. That just is so is such a valuable thing in someone's life. And but I want to start back in the beginning. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up here in Bartlesville, Oklahoma.
Awesome.
Yeah. Bartlesville, ran the streets of Bartlesville, Oklahoma. Educated at Douglas Elementary School, Central, and of course I was a Wildcat.
So you really are.
I am a Wildcat.
A long-time fixture in Bartlesville sporting circles and other circles, I'm sure. Yes. That's awesome. And how did you get into coaching?
Into coaching? Well, and I'll say this next Friday, that after my senior year of playing, I had the opportunity to coach the high school team that was going to be in the summer league at the Boys and Girls Club. And so that was my first venture into coaching. And so I said, okay, I kind of like this. And enjoyed that, and then went on to college, and after college, I moved to Tulsa, and in Tulsa, I kind of dabbled a little bit in rec coaching, and then I taught in Tulsa Public Schools for 7 years, and then I just had I had a goal year. I heard this to go to a Christian school and began teaching there, and I kind of resisted that for a while, but it was the right decision, and began coaching there, coaching basketball, volleyball. I was just talking about it last night at the softball game. A myriad of other sports that I never coached.
Sometimes that happens when you get in a place and the people that have that passion kind of get drawn into doing all kinds of things.
Right. So it was a great experience. I coached at Faith Christian Academy and then Grace Christian School, and then I came back home to Bartlesville.
Awesome.
Yeah, came back home.
When was that? When did you come back?
Came back in 87.
87.
Yeah, came back in 87 and joined Coach Carol Green's staff.
Okay.
Yeah, one of last year's inductees. And so been doing it ever since, and had a little break, and then joined Coach Bart's.
Right.
Then joined, after Coach Green's staff, joined Coach Berger's staff, and then became the head coach here for a few years with the girls. And then after that, had a 3-year break, and was always watching and from the outside, and then got back in 2006, and been in it ever since then.
Awesome.
Yeah. But I taught at Central. All the time here, I taught it.
A lot of times.
You've
also been teaching,
of
course.
Yes.
A similar
Teacher
impact
person.
on youth and through that.
Yes.
But coaching's kind of unique because you're just the team aspect of it, and being able to put together that organized activity of some goal, and you're trying to teach people, I'm sure, something about what it takes to accomplish things together.
Together. That's the key. If you can knit them together, that's the most important thing. Yeah.
What do you think the secrets to that are? How do you
I think you have to be open to learn, and I've learned a lot over these years that the first thing that I learned was that coaching is so different from playing. That playing you had control, coaching you have to really knit the kids together and convince them of the power of working together. And so that was a big lesson.
Interesting, different perspective.
Right.
Maybe you really don't have control as a player.
Right.
You certainly depend on the rest of the team. And I remember a book called The Sixth Man that I read a long time ago that was about the role that first guy off the bench is the sixth man in basketball, and that they're not the star, they're not the one that gets the accolades, but often they can be one that kind of knits it together and is giving themselves up for not for accolades and not for control, but to be able to kind of create that team.
The power of team is pretty special.
I think that's a common theme on our show here, and I know you listen sometimes. But I think at the end of the day, I try to focus on my passion for leadership and team building on the show, and that's why I was so excited to have you on here and kind of talk through some of this.
Well, it's good to be here.
I'm really happy to have you here, and I'll be excited next week to hear you talk about it and all the impact you've had on all these people. I'm sure there'll be lots of your former players and at the celebration, and it's got to be kind of heartwarming to you, I hope. And, you've been involved with the Sports Commission for a long time. Tell us about that.
I think the Sports Commission is just awesome and great, and this is the 17th one, I believe. I think it's the 17th, and I've been at all of them except for one. I miss one, and that was Coach Ripley's. I miss that for Mickey, but it's been pretty special. And when Chris called me and he told me back in April, I think it was April, that I was going to be an inductee, and I said, "Oh, Chris, you flipped the script on me," because I've always enjoyed working in the background, kind of presenting people, introducing people that I think would be great candidates. I probably get to look at the plaques on the wall in the gym more than anyone, and so that's just been an honor to watch all the names go up there. Many that I know, many of my teammates, many coaches that I work with, and I told him, I said, Chris, it's not my time. There's so many more that should be ahead of me. And he said, "Oh yes." He said, "We'll take care of those others. It's yours now." Yeah.
You do deserve that time in the spotlight. I know that. I mean, my perception is that's not something you were ever searching for. Because I know you've devoted yourself to lots of JV teams and a lot of like you mentioned, coaching opportunities that weren't obviously, obvious to you, that you didn't even know the sport, and that kind of doing that in the background and working with the families and
Yes.
kids that aren't the stars.
that's, it's all about the kids, working with the kids and watching them grow and develop and mature. And that's the fun part. That's the rewarding part.
Yeah. I mean, we all can think of teachers or coaches in our lives that had an impact on us like that. I'm sure you have your own memories of that. I certainly do, and that's it often flashes through my mind. Where would I be without that? Again, thank you for your devotion to the youth in our community and to youth in general. And I think it's often underappreciated the impact you have through that repeated process every year, over and over, and how that impacts the whole world, really.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
So we talked about how you got into it. What do you really like about it? What is the draws you back to do that again and again?
I think it's because I love the game. I've always loved the game.
Basketball,
early, yes. I love the game. I think it's the greatest game ever. And
I agree with you.
I think it's the greatest game ever. And to be able, especially from the coaching side, just to take a group of girls and guys and to be able to.
Is it different coaching men and women?
Well, Brett, I thought it was at one point, and I remember we were talking about Jana Riggs, and I remember Jana and I were sitting down in Tulsa watching the boys team that was at state in the old convention center in Tulsa, and we were sitting there with Coach Epperly, and I remember Jana said, Jana asked me, said, well, what's the difference between coaching boys and girls? I said, well, Jana, to me, there's not really one. I said, you just teach the kids the game and try to teach them to play hard and work together. And Coach Epperly said, yeah, Jana, he said, I taught them to work hard. I said, that was it.
That's really important, isn't it?
And that's not, you see some of the same temperaments that you see on both sides with girls and with boys.
Yeah, it takes a lot of self-discipline and motivation to work hard, I think, and because everybody, has stress, gets the energy drops, and getting back up again, taking on that challenge of I've got, and especially when you're doing it for your teammates and for that.
Yes.
I mean, I think that's a pull too, right?
Yes, yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So these life lessons are what we're talking about. That and I've said this story many times, but that was sure a foundation of my grandfather's life, and the opportunity our whole family's had in the car business. That Sparks picture of he and two of his brothers on a basketball team in 1925, and I continually to go back to that, and I'm just amazed at at what happened after that, and I know that's why he started sponsoring the baseball team and devoted a lot of other time to sponsoring other types of sports and things. I mean, it was just important to him, and so we love to carry that on. And the coaches that he had, he talked about them throughout his life. And to me as a child, I remember following him around the dealership, and a lot of times he'd be talking about those experiences on teams when he was younger with his brothers, and how special that was, and the stuff he learned about leadership and and what it took to get back up when it's hard. So as you've become involved in the sports commission and you're going to get ready, you're going to be honored here. Do you have what other thoughts has that brought up? I mean, it's kind of a unique opportunity, I think.
Yes. Really, I guess when it started, back in May after talking to Chris, and my mind just started rolling back to the actual journey, and to this time, all the great kids that I've the great kids that I've had a chance to work with.
Stay in touch with you.
Oh
still.
yes, yeah. The thoughts, and I had to kind of shut my mind off, like like, what do I say? What do I say? And
I'm sure it will come to you.
oh yeah, it has. So that's just reflecting on the beginning and the time and the growth. And I think you learn a lot. I've had a chance to be mentored by great coaches throughout the years, even from the start. Great friends, and
Do you want to mention any of them, or
well,
you probably did a little bit?
I'll probably mention them again.
Okay, we don't need to take your speech away. That's not the purpose of this. No, I wanted to kind of get a little deeper and talk about what we won't have time to next Friday night.
Right. And just the growth. I think coaching is something that you grow in. A lot of trial and error, and you learn from your mistakes, and you just keep moving. You keep moving, and you try to get better. And I don't think you can ever stop learning.
That's a
as a coach.
great lesson, because it is.
Never stop learning.
When people feel like they're done with that, it kind of ends the whole journey, and that's. That's. I believe in that for sure. Yeah. A little bit. You got to be firm and know kind of have where you're going, but at the same time be able to pivot and adjust, because life is always going to put up obstacles, and there's new stuff coming. That's certainly in business we deal with that all the time, having to adjust and figure out what's next, and how do we create that culture that's going to hold it together and really outperform the competition, so to speak, much like a team on a basketball court or on any field or court. That's really cool. I got a little bit of business I want to talk about before we get to the very end of the show. It is the end of the month, and we've got some cars to sell. We got our objectives are in reach, but we need a few more folks. So there's great end of month deals out there on the lot. We've got a pretty good inventory of Toyotas, as usual. They are scarcer than some brands because they're in such high demand and such great vehicles.
Yes, they are.
And but we've got Prius, Toyota Crown, a GR Corolla Premium, which is a really cool, hot little Corolla. Corolla, people don't think of it as an aspirational sports car, but this really, truly is, and it's one of the fastest Toyotas ever, and it's that size that just handles so well. So it's like one of those speedy guards on the court that no one can keep up with, that can dribble like crazy. And runs the fast break like nothing else. And,
like David Castillo.
David, that's Bodie used to try to keep up with him. And back at the Boys and Girls Club, you mentioned your time there, and I know you've helped them out a lot with through the years with their sports and programs and such. It's a neat program in our community. And then Tacomas, we do have a great selection of Tacomas right now. I think 5 of them on the ground now. And then Sequoia and Tundra also. And then lots more coming in. And as always, we're looking to supplement our used car inventory and buying cars virtually every day. If you want to start that process, it's really easy online to go and put in a little bit of information about your vehicle. It'll give you an initial, what they call an instant cash offer on the vehicle. And then we take it from there. And if you can bring it in, we can do an inspection. Often we can offer quite a bit more money than that estimate does. And we try to be that Doenges simple price process. People we're really focused on keeping our buying experience fast, fun, transparent, feel good for our customers. We want them to be.
That's what I've always experienced.
Thank you for
Yeah.
that. No, they are a great customer of
Yes.
ours. I love seeing you on the showroom and getting a chance to catch up when you're doing your maintenance, and I know, and you're always checking on our children,
Yes.
and
Yes.
I thank you so
Yeah.
much for caring and
Yes.
being loyal to us. And
Yes.
I appreciate that. The another thing I wanted to mention is I'm going to be doing a presentation on Monday at the Rotary Club, the Noon Rotary Club, my Rotary Club, on the car business, past, present, and future. And I wanted to invite listeners to the show to come if they're interested in that subject or learning more about Rotary. You can be my guest, and I'll buy your lunch, which is a nice Melody's lunch. If too many of you come, we'll probably run out, but that would be cool. And you can get a chance to find out about Rotary and what it means to be a small, community-based Oklahoma family-owned car dealership these days. And that's something I think about a lot, that and transforming the buying process. Our team is really dedicated to that, and that's, we're continually investing in the future and in what's, to keep us relevant in this very hyper-competitive world with so much change faced with us. I saw the craziest thing I've seen in the car business news this week, where something like 98% of car dealers car dealers were surveyed, and 98% of them thought that they would not require employees at their dealership within 5 years with AI. I was like, well, I guess I'm in the 2%. As usual, I'm in the 2%, not in the 98. But there's some truth to that. We're deploying AI throughout our dealership, but really more to help the people. I think, if you imagine a robot or something fixing a car, they might be able to do some of it, but the truth is, the dexterity required to remove your engine or get around that, get into some of these areas requires human hands, right? It's a robot dribbling a basketball. I've seen them try, but it's not. They're not very good at it.
Or running.
Or running, and I'm sure they'll get better. But it's, to me, it may take longer than 5 years. And we sure want to lean on our people, make them more efficient, and stay up with these trends. But that may be pushing it a little bit too far for me. Anyway, there's a lot of exciting stuff coming in our business, but hopefully that's not the case. So also, before we wrap up, it's a busy weekend this weekend. There's a lot of great stuff going on in the community. We have Concerns annual lip sync battle on Saturday night, as well as Willow Rock's Cow Thieves and Outlaws. And also, Bartlesville Civic Ballet has their Dracula, Arvola's Dracula, going on Saturday and Sunday. And next week is Oktoberfest. So some of our great events in the fall, and I'm sure I'm leaving people out. I'm sorry. I try to get it all, but I never can.
Yes.
And I want to get back to your story. And, is there, so of these life lessons and from your experience, is there anything you think is really important that people need to know that would be valuable to share? Kind of a broad question.
I think caring.
Caring.
I think, I think the one thing that I gained more was caring about the kids. That it's hard to coach them if you don't care about them. Yeah. Not just as athletes, but as individuals and as human beings.
Being able to be empathetic.
Right.
And
Caring about the kids, because like you said, and getting kids to understand the importance that whatever sport they're in, that they can take so many lessons from it in the next phases of their of their lives.
And sometimes when they're in it, they don't really,
Right.
they're not thinking about
Right.
that until they reflect on it.
Right.
Sometimes
Right.
decades later, I
Yeah.
think that's so true. That's a great way to put it. Caring. I know. That's what our customers want.
Yeah.
Most of all.
Yeah.
Is to know we care and that we're really
Yeah.
there for them, and
Yeah.
because we're human and make mistakes.
Yes.
And they're not going to be perfect.
Right.
We don't
Right.
expect anybody to be
Right.
perfect, but
Right.
to care about it, and that probably, that's something you hope to develop in your teams too,
Right.
because
Right.
that's how you get that team
Right.
to work together, right?
Right. One of I would never forget this. When I was with the girls, one of the players, she brought the word synergy to the team, and so that's never escaped me, the word synergy, because it's about it all coming together, each part,
Yeah.
each part, making up the sum total. That synergy, and it's important. Whether you're winning or losing, that's
we all
You gotta stay
want to
together.
win.
Oh,
In a way,
yes,
competitiveness
yes,
is great and a
yes.
great in our human nature
Yes,
too.
yes.
But still, we are gonna lose, and
Yeah.
you get knocked down the seventh time, get
Yeah.
up 8, and
Yes.
it's I've got these fortune cookies I
Yeah.
got over 20 years ago that I sent them to Bodie last week because he was studying hard and not playing on the soccer team.
Right.
It's a challenge, but
Right.
and one says your present plans are going to succeed. And the second one says it's time to shake the world. The third one says it's your path may be difficult, but it will be rewarding. And the fourth one says get knocked down 7 times,
Yeah.
get up the 8th.
Yeah.
And it's
That's good.
I
That's
like
good.
it. Yeah,
That's good.
It
Yeah.
is good. Well,
Staying with
that's
it.
I love how we ended it there, and your
Yes.
show. And this is for me, this is one of our best shows ever. And I think thank you. I want to thank you.
Well,
and
thank you for asking me,
for
Brad.
coming and sharing your
Yeah.
journey and values with us. And I know that anyway. Thank you again.
Yes,
It's so
thank you.
so valuable,
Thank you. Thank you.
we look forward to honoring you next week.
Yes,
and
yes.
be there, and you'll
I'll
get
do it in
a
5
long-standing ovation, I'm sure. Probably
Well, I was
longer than
thinking,
5
I said,
minutes.
well, if they keep clapping, I said, if they keep clapping, I may not have to speak.
That's a good thing to have.
But I'm honored. I'm humbled and honored. Yeah, humbled and honored.
Well, folks, there you go. That's a great show. And, of course, come see us out at Doenges Toyota at www.doengestoyota.com or at the dealership at 1911 Southeast Washington Boulevard.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching and listening to Car Talk with Brad Doenges right here on K1, the